Welcome back, friends! Today we're unboxing my new Himi Guache set. I'm glad that you're here, and I got this Himi Guache set for Christmas, and I thought I'll make a little ASMR video unboxing it. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll talk later to you when I start painting. So here I am again. I'm starting to paint now. I wanted to paint something colorful and fun because I'm taking this first painting out of my sketchbook and I'm gluing this on the cover, so I have a colorful sketchbook that's looking fun. I wanted to paint something that is colorful so that it motivates me to paint again, and so I chose the ducks from Spirited Away from Studio Ghibli. And I thought that's a quite cute idea because I think they're looking kind of weird and fun at the same time, and that's something I find quite cute. So yeah, I just went in and wanted to have fun. As you can see, I finished my pencil sketch and then I went in with a color pencil because I thought if the outlines are showing through, I want them to be red or something so that it kind of gives a vibe. But then I did go in and layered a first layer of paint over the whole painting to make a tone. Yeah, and that kind of messed it up, but gouache is obviously kind of forgiving, so I still went with it. I have to admit, this is my first time using gouache, and I was kind of intimidated, but also kind of motivated to use it because I saw very aesthetic videos from people using it, and I'm actually very motivated to do it again. But yeah, as you can see, I'm layering stuff and I'm trying to get the hang of it, trying new things and how gouache actually works, and I needed some time to figure out how much water I needed to add for the consistency I wanted. So yeah, that was kind of a struggle, but yeah, you can see I'm going in with yellow to paint the ducks because I was kind of intimidated, like I said, and that was some safe space for me. I was actually quite impressed by the color variation this set had because I didn't need to mix as many colors as I was used to. to be honest, mixing always gets me into trouble, because there are only two possibilities for me. The first is I take too few colors and then I have the correct color I want, but have too few of it, and then have to mix again, and you'll never get it on point, I swear. And the second possibility actually is you take color, you mix them, and then you think, that's not quite right, and you adjust, and every step you take more color, and then you end up with a giant blob of color, and you don't know what to do with it. Yeah, I mean, yes, you can reactivate gouache. That's not the problem. I mean, yeah, but what do I do if I have like vomit green and have a big blob of it? Paint a picture with vomit green? A vomit green forest? Nice, that's something I want to hang up. So this struggle was taken away, and I'm very glad. So, coming back to the painting, as you can probably see, I'm kind of struggling with staying in the lines and everything. And as I mentioned earlier, this blank space was kind of intimidating for me, so if I had to redo this painting, I would actually start with a very light wash of color, so that my gouache is watered down very much, and then I would take an orange or a yellowish orange and just paint the whole painting, so that you have an undertone and the whole painting gets a warm vibe, for which I'm going for. And then I would go over it with my different other colors and just layer them, because you don't have the problem you have with watercolors, where you paint your first layer and then are like, oh my gosh, I can't cover up this mistake, because yeah, gouache layers, as I said, and that's very forgiving. And so I would do that, and I really like actually how paintings turn out if you use an undertone, especially if you're doing something like lo-fi vibe or something like that. As you can see here, I'm using a baby blue color for the water, and I would use that if I had the orange undertone too, but then it would turn out more greenish, and I really like that, so I'm going in later and add the green color manually by layering it on top of the blue. But yeah, I'm showing you next painting how that works if I don't forget it. So I'm also drawing the water in a different color, depending on what is beneath it and what color shines through the water. Therefore, the water that flows over the barrel is darker, and the water inside the barrel is on top of the yellow bodies of ducks, and so I'm taking a lighter green for that, and where the color is deeper, I'm going to take a darker green or a darker blue, and where the color is not that deep, I'm going to take a lighter color, and you can see that especially now where I take the greens to color in the water in the barrel. I actually started this painting at 31st of December because I got this gouache set for Christmas. And yeah, I wanted to try it. But then life happened and exam phase came. And so this painting waited for me for 4 months. And I started it again on 15th of April, I guess. So yeah, because of that big break, you can see now that my setup actually changed and I got a new desk. Therefore you have to deal with a different background now. I'm sorry. Yeah, and as you can see, I was kind of lazy and didn't want to take out my palette, so I used a paper I had lying around to mix my colors, and then I went in and made a little bit of shading because I wasn't happy how comic-y this looked, and I wanted it to have a little bit more depth. To make the barrel look more three-dimensional, I'm actually painting the lower part of it darker, so it looks like the light is coming from above. And then, surprise, surprise, my SD card was full and I couldn't record anymore, so I took my SD card, put it into my PC and waited until it was all converted to my PC, so I could delete it. And while that took a bit of time, I used this time to add a little bit more shading, as you can see. I really hope you don't mind, and if you do, I'm very sorry. I could explain how I'm shading in the next video, if you like, but I'm not an expert, I'm just doing like I feel. And yeah, now I'm continuing with coloring everything. So this was the time my boyfriend came back from work and looked at this almost finished painting and thought, this painting really needs an evil duck. Therefore he insisted to take one duck and give him red eyes. And you can see this here. I'm showing you this in real time actually, because everything I do is sped up like at least 8 times. So enjoy! So here I am again, and I'm starting to paint the eyes of my little duckies, and I wanted them to have like very stupid looking faces, but also small pupils to have them, yeah, not that cute, but more on the weird side. So after I finished that, I went on with my pencils to make some outlines for the duckies. And I struggled a little bit with that because the first pencils I used were a little bit too soft and too brittle, I think. And so they broke all the time, and then they were just not good to use. And then the second one was the one I used in the mouse painting, I think. And that one just was shimmering, and I also didn't want that one. So yeah, I just tried different pencils and they were all meh, and I don't know if it's really great to use them on gouache, because gouache is harder than normal paper and pencil just looks different on it. But I really like the softer edges when you don't use fine liners, and actually I had the feeling that if I'm using fine liners on gouache, I have the same problem with watercolor. And you probably had that too if you ever used fine liners on watercolor. They just dry out and you pick up some of the watercolor with your fine liner and you just destroy your fine liner with that, and I didn't want that. So yeah, I went in with pencil and I think it turned out okay. I mean, why am I just complaining? But yeah, something to consider. I wanted to say something to consider, that you probably don't use fine liners on gouache. When I started outlining ducks in the middle of the barrel or in the middle of the painting, I actually realized I didn't want to use black for outlining the ducks, because I wanted more lo-fi vibes and just more soft edges. So I actually wanted to use red or orange or reddish brown to outline those. But yeah, I messed up with the first two ducks, and then I was like, oh, well, then I'm just going with the flow and outlining every duck with black and then outlining other stuff with colors. So yeah, that's why I'm using different colors for different stuff. Things to learn and consider for the next painting, I guess. I actually don't have that much to say anymore, so I'm going to leave you alone a little bit and then come back later when I'm finishing everything up. So enjoy! So now the painting is finished and I'm going to tear it out of that sketchbook. But I was actually quite scared that I would tear the paper apart, but it came off kind of well. Not in the way it was supposed to, but it was enough. Now I'm using double-sided tape to later glue my painting on the front of my sketchbook, so I have a cover. And even though my paper was kinda wavy from the water, it stuck to it really well and it didn't come off or anything. Yes, and after that I'm going to use clear tape to protect my painting from everything outside because I want to take my sketchbook with me. And this book tape you can find in every store that sells stationery, I think, because this is the same tape you use for school to protect your books. The only thing you really have to make sure is that your painting is dry, because if it isn't and you use something like felt markers or anything, they will fade and they will like feather and everything. And if you don't want that effect, that might not be that cool. So this is my finished painting and sketchbook cover. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. I hope to see you next time. Bye!